Wow. What a game.
All right,
I'm waiting for
Ziggy,
Paul to get
let's
in the
go.
frame.
Let's go. What a win. Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul Farrington joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler reacting to just an unbelievable Vikings-Bears game. I mean, Ziggy, that was... We said the Packers game yesterday was the best Packer win since their Cowboy playoff win a couple of years back. That was as exciting. We have a lot of exciting games, but that was maybe the biggest swing of hopeless to what the hell is going on here? I love this team that I've ever seen. And it's crazy.
I don't even know what to say. Coming off that Bills-Ravens game, my roommate checked out at halftime.
Oh,
and he said, you can believe the Vikings will come back. And I said, after what we saw last night, anything's possible. It's just the story completely flipped, right? It went from complete Vikings ineptitude, doing what the Vikings do best, to complete Bears ineptitude, doing what the Bears do best. I can't believe what we just saw. And, Jack texted in our group chat right before the Bears walked down and scored a touchdown, how this ends. You're a Vikings fan.
Yeah,
you know where this is going. We've
seen that a million times. Of course, they score before the 2-minute warning, and they have the opportunity. You would have thought to have gotten the ball back. What a unbelievably dumb decision to kick it off. I can't fathom why they wouldn't.
What happened was the kicker said, "I promise you, I've got the leg," and they said, "All right," and he just didn't. You should just kick it out of bounds and eat the penalty.
Yeah, no matter what you do, if it's an onside kick, probably 1 second goes off. If you kick it out of bounds, it's a penalty. The time was the most important asset to the Bears there. I cannot believe. When they kicked it off, I looked at my dad, I said, "We won the game." And I high-fived him.
It's crazy to believe that's not the worst Bears clock management mistake we've seen in the past year.
This is unbelievable, man. And do we have any Vikings fans in the chat right now? And that's one thing. I know we have a lot of Packers fans. We can all celebrate a Bears loss like that. It's hysterical. We have a lot of friends who are Bears fans, and it's mutual respect when I talk to them and Ziggy talks to them. But that was just hysterical. Let me say this. I never thought the Bears were dominating that game. I know they were saying it on the broadcast. You heard Buck and Aikman going on and on about how Chicago had complete control. And they, in a sense, had control. But to me, the entire time, Ziggy, it felt like we were giving the game to Chicago. Because Caleb, after the first drive, I thought the defense settled in. And I thought Caleb actually started missing a lot of throws, had some bad reads, started falling into some of his old habits. And it felt like we were giving the game to Chicago, who then said, "No, you guys take it." And JJ McCarthy took it, Ziggy. It's unbelievable. Where do you stand on JJ right now?
That was not a pretty game. That was not a good game out of JJ McCarthy. I'm not feeling super thrilled.
Dude,
but it was his first game as a starter.
How are you not thrilled?
I would have liked to see him play a good game of football. Is that too much to ask?
Dude.
I'll say this. About halfway through the third quarter, I was sitting there sort of grumbling to myself, thinking, all we've heard about is how this kid's got the intangibles and he's the leadership. None of that matters. What matters is whether you can actually put together a drive. He proved me wrong, right? Whatever that leadership, intangible, just wins games, keeps the team in it, whatever that was, to have gone scoreless 2 of 3 quarters and put up 2 field goals going into the fourth quarter and say, actually, we're going to score 3 touchdowns. He's got something. This isn't sustainable. We can't have Jordan Mason be the only engine of offensive production. We got to get more out of Justin Jefferson. But we won the game. Yes, there's
a lot to look back on and say we need to fix. In the first half, I had my notes going here, and I was just like, the first thing I wrote was JJ was awful. I actually made the thumbnail for the Vikings loss that said utter disaster. I had the title. I was workshopping a bunch of things. First half, I was actually starting to cope. I was like, all right, he was first start. He was injured all last year. Can't set expectations too high. The normal Vikings post-game reaction of how can we try and find some optimism in this thing. And I started talking about Aaron Rodgers, Ziggy. I was looking at my dad going, man, can you imagine if we had Rodgers? He'd be carving up this team right now. And that still may have been true. But here's what I'll say about the 2 teams that we root for, the Vikings and Notre Dame. My God, they may struggle at times more than anyone in their sport should, and they may have some more boneheaded things happen to them. But both these teams right now, with Freeman and O'Connell at the helm, the grit is unbelievable. And the JJ McCarthy experience, I think tonight you saw everything. In the first half, it was all the people, including our co-host Jackson in our group chat saying, why would you draft a guy who can't throw the football? Why would you take someone in the top 10 who all he did in college was hand off? And in the first half, it was dreadful. Like, we can't sugarcoat it. That was as bad a Viking offense as we've seen since the Christian Ponder days. That was a Christian Ponder, no diss Christian Ponder, I'm sorry. But the Christian Ponder without Adrian Peterson playing days, it was like, all right, we get a holding penalty, drives over. The 10-point deficit felt insurmountable.
Oh, if we had as many false starts as the Chicago Bears had, we wouldn't have had a chance this game.
And that's exactly what we expected coming into this, right? We said that Chicago had been struggling with that in their training camp. They struggled with that in the preseason games. A lot of false starts, a lot of timing issues, which also seeped their way over to the Vikings with the play clock running down. But really, all of a sudden, my dad's sitting there on the couch, and he goes, is there a way he could just flip the switch? And next thing you know, we have 3 straight touchdown drives. And that final touchdown drive, the one where McCarthy ran into the end zone, shout out producer Zach, who had a parlay of an anytime touchdown on the ground for McCarthy and Caleb. That drive to me, just taking it down your throat, was it 2:53? What was that drive? It was a 2-minute 53, 9 plays, 68 yards, 4:31 off the clock, resulting in the JJ 14-yard touchdown run. That to me, and you saw the look on McCarthy's face, it was, I can play in this league. Like, that was a gritty, tough, I belong here moment. And I can't believe that it happened. I was ready to come on here and just weep.
No, I mean, the poise it takes from your first-year starting quarterback, right? This is his first game he started in the NFL. To go into a huge deficit and remain confident. I mean, Kevin O'Connell said at halftime, right, that like he was going to talk JJ McCarthy up, just believe in yourself, keep working at it. And then we came out of that halftime with interception, 3 and out, 3 and out. So I'm like, whatever. It's just not happening today. I would have liked to see, obviously, our drive go a little bit better to close out the game, right? 3 carries followed by a punt is maybe not what I would have dialed up. But at the end of the day, Paul, you always say this on the show. I always have a tendency to get critical. We won the game. The Chicago Bears fans right now are going to be sitting back feeling very critical about a game they lost. We won the game.
That is a disaster loss for Chicago. And it's not,
you have got to win that game.
Like, we're not blowing up, I'm not ready to blow up the season for either team had they lost, but that kind of a loss when you're playing JJ tore his meniscus last year. He hasn't played a snap of regular season football before tonight.
He played 12 snaps of preseason this year.
And you had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. What was the score? It was 6 to 17.
6 to 17.
You have to put that away. JJ, we had nothing. You were watching the Viking offense, and I'm getting texts from Packer fans. Ziggy, I was getting calls from people, and they were saying, dude, do you know your life would be so much better if you were a Packer fan? Like, you got to let it go. Just let it go. And while I'm not disagreeing with them, because I know that the world from that other side, the grass is greener normally. But I was like, no, obviously I'm not going to do that. Like, any Packer fan here would never switch allegiance. You would never, well, I hope you would never switch allegiance despite the jokes. But that's how bad it was. It was unfathomably bad.
I would not have believed that Bears fans would be booing their team by the end of that game after the start they got off to. Of course, we can talk a lot more about how they got there. Caleb Williams, I think you said it right. He opened the game really well. And I still think this is one of Caleb Williams' better games in his career. It's clear sort of what they're going for here. But the Minnesota Vikings, the thing I was most afraid of seeing, you can go back and watch our show of Andy Herman. I said I was worried about the supporting cast not showing up. And for a lot of this game, especially early on, it did not feel like the supporting cast was there. I'm glad to see, though, the Minnesota Vikings, how many years now has our calling card been improbable wins and comebacks in the fourth quarter, winning every one-score game we're in? Like, that's been what this Vikings team has done for a while. Yeah. It's different when you're like Sam Darnold and you know you've got nothing to lose, or you're Kirk Cousins and you've been doing it for years. For JJ McCarthy to be able to step in and continue that tradition really means a lot to me.
That was as gutsy a win that the Vikings have had as any of them over the past 3 seasons with O'Connell. I mean, we had that game down in Buffalo where Allen fumbled on the goal line and it was just back and forth punches. That season was insane. The 60-yarder from Joseph to win it. Last year, we had a couple major Sam Darnold drives to win games. this was unbelievable. This was like,
when was the last time Soldier Field was that loud? I cannot think of it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, the Bears came out with their heads on fire, and you got to give credit to Chicago. They opened that game off the way they were supposed to. That's exactly what you wanted to see if you were a Bears fan. Exactly the start for Caleb that you wanted if you were a Bears fan with Ben Johnson. Defense looks great. That's what you do to a first-time starting quarterback. And I don't know if it's some sort of if there's voodoo out there, if some Bears fan made a deal with the devil a long time ago, but something happened where McCarthy found his rhythm because he couldn't hit. I mean, he couldn't hit at the backside of a barn. It was every time he dropped back, it seemed like the four-man rush of the Bears would get to him. He'd crumble, and next thing you know, we're slinging it all over the field. Jordan Mason and Jones are running loose. It was. I think that was one of the more unbelievable flipping of the scripts that I've ever seen. Even in the Bills-Ravens game last night, we saw the fumble by Derrick Henry and Josh Allen's an MVP. This was a first start of a person's career where we had 5 first downs going into the fourth quarter. I mean, we had 50 yards at halftime.
No, I mean, there were, for how long in the game? I think into the fourth quarter, JJ McCarthy had more interception return yards than he did passing yards.
Yeah, and what I was saying before about the whole JJ experience is you saw what people were concerned about, right? You saw a little bit of the. I don't want to say he didn't hold the ball too. He held the ball a little long in the first. half.
My biggest problem: how many passes were batted down? Batted passes. The angles were terrible.
Yes, batted passes. There was just everything that people were concerned about with McCarthy as far as him being able to actually throw the football in the NFL seemed legit. But the poise and the confidence never seemed to disappear. And the same thing for O'Connell. I thought that O'Connell and McCarthy showed a big difference between themselves and what Johnson and Caleb Williams are right now, where Caleb, you see the demeanor drop, right? You see him get upset. You see Ben Johnson, not as much, but you could see that look of just what is going on here? He looked a little confused in the moment, and Caleb had the big overthrow of DJ Moore that should have been a touchdown. Even the pass that Kmet caught that, of course, right after we take the 10-point lead, the first pass downfield's a 40-yard bobbling catch. But I thought that you saw KOC and JJ have that winning mentality. Now, we haven't seen in the playoffs still from KOC, but these guys don't stop coming. Pause. These guys don't stop coming.
No, I mean, Ben Johnson said in his post-game press conference, right, the Bears looked like a poorly coached team today. They had one great drive. They started getting really excited, and I don't blame them for getting excited a little bit. But after that, you saw a bunch of pre-snap penalties. Once things stopped going so easily, just like you said, Paul, it felt like the team's fire was going out. I mean, going into halftime, that Bears defense was playing lights out. The player you highlight as a breakout player, Gervon Dexter, was just all over the place. When things were going well for this Bear team, it felt very streaky. But when they faced real adversity in the game, when it looked like the Vikings were starting to come back, they folded. And, it's his first game as a head coach, right? He, just like you talk about a rookie quarterback or a guy like JJ McCarthy starting for the first time and having a million things to learn, so does Ben Johnson. But it might not be the immediate instant turnaround that, honestly, for the first couple of drives, I thought it might be.
Dude, Ziggy, I'm sweating. We had to pause for a second before starting because I had to take off my sweatshirt. I was just running around the room. Me and my dad were just high.
People might think that's metaphorical. I know you. You were probably literally running around the room.
When we score, but that's the thing. I think I've gotten better now at actually processing losses where I would have been really upset and it would have been an hour of coping. But I've gotten good at being all right, let's try and find the path here. I was pretty miserable in that first half. When we took the lead on the Jones touchdown, my dad and I looked at each other and went what the hell is happening? And I don't know how many games.
Can I put a quick update in here from the poll? We've got 88% Packers fans, 8% Vikings fans, 4% Lions fans, 1% Bears fans in the chat. Oh, right now.
Packers fan. Since we have so many Packers fans and Vikings fans.
I mean, if you're a Packers fan, you're probably delighted. You saw both of these teams have really big downs.
0% Bears fan. Can we get from everyone in the chat right now, a Bears still suck?
No, Paul, come on. The Bears fans they're not here because they're drinking themselves to death after watching this game.
Look, I think that there were a lot of positive takeaways for both teams. Someone earlier said, I think Paul's a little too high right now. And that is probably true. I mean, come on. After a game like that, we can be a little excited. But once we sober down, and I really do think that when I'm excited, I'm a more dangerous person to myself than if I'm like really drunk. Just because I'm so happy. I just start flying. Yeah, look at the Bears still suck all over the comment section.
I'll say this. The Bears, I really want to see how they respond this because they have to go to Detroit next week. And, this Detroit team is pissed the F off.
Yeah.
Right? They want to annihilate the Bears after what happened. And the Bears are coming off. We saw how that heartbreaking loss to the Commanders really derailed their season. Ben Johnson is going to have a huge test having to go into Detroit next week. I don't expect them to win that game. I think this Detroit team's good. But starting 0-2 with two pretty miserable losses is the sort of thing that derailed the Bears like a bad losing streak derailed them last year. It's a tough look for Bears fans. This was such a winnable game and would have made going to Detroit feel a lot less pressure. It's tough.
But it was beyond winnable. It was basically a short fire
won.
thing.
No, it wasn't quite as bad as the Commanders game. But it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, and again, here was the problem, though, Ziggy. And when you look back on it, I think you could see it a little bit more. The Bears weren't giving it to the Vikings. It was that the Vikings just couldn't do anything, right?
I mean, the Bears' defense was giving it to us. I'm going to stick with that.
Sure, but I still felt like it was more of a product of JJ having the game too fast for him and making a couple big mistakes. I mean, the interception to Jefferson was like, oh my God! You heard Joe Buck said it was. You heard him go, "Oh no!" before he even threw it. It was one of the most telegraphed interceptions you could see. There was like 3 yards separating the guys. Jefferson, who picked it off, the former Viking. I can't remember his name right now. But between Jefferson and the defender, there was like 3 yards. I mean, you can't have throws like that on big drives like we were having. But yeah, it was one because the Vikings couldn't move the football. And when you were watching Chicago, I thought Caleb opened, and someone mentioned in the comments, I thought it the whole game as well. He opened with those first, those scripted plays, looked great. But still, as the game went on, you just saw a lot of the same problems start to surface. And we didn't, now, I thought he escaped better, right? You called me out on it when I said it in our group chat. He was navigating pressure better, right? He wasn't taking major sacks, but the Vikings were a split second away on so many of them. And you just saw a couple misses, a couple inaccurate throws. It was a game where Caleb was efficient. They should have ran us out of the building. And he wasn't.
Brian Flores' defense is very difficult to read.
Sure,
I'm going to look forward. I'm going to watch some All-22 tomorrow. Look forward to talking about Evandy Herman. Because there were a few plays, I think they were positive plays for the Bears where they gained 5 or 6 yards. But Flores figured this out pretty quickly. Caleb Williams and his effort to, have a high completion rating, get the ball out quickly. There were some big, deep developing plays that Caleb Williams just did not see. It was on his second drive, I think. They had a post open deep. We were in some kind of cover 2 or cover 3 look. You couldn't really see it on the TV. Mm-hmm. But they showed DJ Moore breaking open like 30 yards downfield, pretty much wide open.
Oh, yeah, on the last drive, right?
Yeah, on the last drive it happened too. Like throughout the game, we started giving Caleb more and more of those opportunities. Flores basically said, I saw you miss them early on. I'm going to test you later. You need to be able to hit these or we're going to have a fun time in the second half. And did the Vikings defense have a fun time in the second half? Boy, howdy.
And there's the boy, howdy. It was a little concerning with how open people were at times. But given that Caleb didn't complete a lot of those passes, the Viking defense really did settle down quite nicely come the second half, right? Because earlier, like that first Bears drive, for us to go 3 and out, the Bears 10-play, 61-yard drive right down the field, it was that classic Viking mentality of, here we go again. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is going to happen. And after the half, it was 3 and out for Chicago, 5 plays punt, 11 plays missed field goal. That was actually the turning point. Punt, then the touchdown the last drive. So the Bears offense, 4 out of 5 drives went 5 plays or less. And it was a great job from the Vikings D-line. Javon Hargrave had a huge sack late in the game during the turning point. I thought Grenard was all over the place, but didn't get there all night. Van Ginkel almost had another interception touchdown, which would have been great. Eric Wilson maybe the player, like maybe, could be star of the game with a couple, came in for Blake Cashman, who hopefully is okay with the hamstring, but blocked the punt, was a menace on special teams in other ways, had a couple big stops. It was just a great win. Now, when we look at the bigger picture here, this is where, all the Packers fans are right when they say we can't get too high. Like, there's a lot to work on.
This is not going to be good enough to beat the Cincinnati Bengals week 3.
Well, maybe. I don't know. The Bengals defense. But what the Vikings have right now is a really solid team with a quarterback that's going to take some time. I was hoping that we would come out tonight and JJ was just going to light it up. I mean, that was the optimistic side of me hoping. And that didn't happen. But with the end of the game, I mean, now you can look at this and say we're in decent shape, but I think he's going to have his growing pains. There will be mistakes like that pick 6. We were very fortunate the past 2 years. I thought that Kirk Cousins was playing some of the best football of his career when he went down with the Achilles injury. And Sam Darnold came in, and we've always known Sam Darnold can throw the football. It was just a matter of being in the right place and actually kind of like figuring it all out, which he did with O'Connell. It's going to take a little time with JJ. But in that
I'm
fourth
very
quarter,
happy we don't play the Packers until November 23rd.
Oh, me too. But that fourth quarter, that gives you walking away from that, you have to be feeling decent about this season. Let's say, let's pretend it's not division, but a wild card spot feels achievable.
It's in play.
Yeah.
I mean, week 1 is always hard. This Bears team might just be terrible. This might have been a fluke offensive performance from the Vikings. Like, we just don't know exactly what it's going to be. But JJ McCarthy showed that when the time comes, he can step up and get it done. And there are many quarterbacks in the NFL that will never have a quarter like the quarter JJ McCarthy had. And he had it in his very first game.
No, I think 9 out of 10 quarterbacks in their first start completely wither away there and probably throw another interception and go 3 and out, and the game's over.
I mean, compare that to Cam Ward's first start in Denver. Now, obviously, playing in Denver, maybe the defense is a little bit harder, but he had a horrendous game.
Yeah, no, it was just an amazing fourth quarter comeback for us. Again, Vikings 27-24 win over the Bears. We appreciate we have 1,400 people right now who are listening to us live.
This is the first time we've ever had a really solid show for something good happening to us.
This is one of the weirdest shows that we've ever had because, yeah, I guess you guys have never really seen me.
You know why
happy.
they're here? They're here because they want to watch us dunk on the Bears.
But
right?
we
can have fun as long as it's at the Bears' expense.
We all can have fun on this one because that was ridiculous. That was as Bears as it gets. I think I even tweeted out from our show account. We can all agree this would be hysterical if the Bears lost. And look, there's a piece of me that actually feels bad for Chicago because that was brutal. But man, I'm real proud of JJ McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell did a great job. Ziggy, we have a couple of super chats, right?
Oh, we have a bunch of super chats. I said we get to them at the end. Now seems like a good time to take a little pause and get through them. We're sorry we couldn't get to a lot of them in our reaction show. A lot of them are some version of, for instance, from Jacob Clay, we've got Bears still suck, go Pack go, and go Vikings. Clearly you're not a Vikings fan because you say go Vikings. Bears still gonna bear from Landon. Jacob Underhill, Bears still suck. Steve Hunt's Bears still suck. If you've got Bears still suck, there's a whole lot of those. We've got a nice one from Justin Zarata. Can't wait to see Micah Parsons chasing JJ McCarthy. I'll say this. I can't wait for Christian Darrisaw to get back. There were so many plays this game where left tackle just got blown up. In the run game, in the pass game with holding.
Yeah, School was quite literally being taken to school quite in that game. It was.
And look, I thought that Darrisaw was going to start. It's tough to have to come in and replace Christian Darrisaw. This offensive line is going to get a lot better when he's back. Will it be good enough to handle Micah Parsons? I don't know, but it'll be better than what we saw today.
Getting Darrisaw back will be massive because you could feel his absence several times in this game. As you said, whether it was in the run game or in the pass game, there were several times where School was just struggling, and there's no way around it. I mean, the guy, he's a backup on the team, and he did an okay job tonight, but Darrisaw is one of the best left tackles in football. And we're going to need it. I mean, man, you saw Packers as well. We got Hutchinson, Parsons. It is a monster division. It's a monster conference of edge rushers. We're going to need him back badly here. I'm just laughing at all the Bears still suck in the chat. Like, we have a little compassion for Bears fans. The Green Bay community does not at all. And there was one chat here, a super chat. Where was it from? It's not letting me actually see who said it. Who said Caleb went from looking a little bit better to holy shit, he got worse in the same game?
That's from D Mize.
Yeah,
appropriate name talking about Caleb Williams in that game.
And that is how I felt about it as well. I thought that early on you were seeing the signs you wanted, but it quickly started to deteriorate. And we're going to see the mental fortitude of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams next week.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm much more worried about Caleb Williams, honestly.
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, if you are a Bears or a Vikings fan, walking away from this, I know we won the game and I know it was stunning, but like broader view, which fan base do you think should be more excited about this upcoming season?
If I'm a Bears fan, I mean, we have like 2 Bears fans watching this. You can let us know what you think. But if I'm a Bears fan, the thing that bothers me is Ben Johnson. I know it's week 1, but things were supposed to be different this year. And this game felt like the same old Bears. It felt like one thing goes right for you, and the team loses their composure and has a horrible collapse down the stretch. How many times did we see that last year? The second things start going right, it's self-sabotage.
Now, we also do have to acknowledge Jalen Johnson was out. Gordon was out, right? I believe, at corner. TJ Edwards was out. There were a lot of pieces to this Bears team that were not there tonight, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, who will be coming back. And you're right. That is what the Bears do. And you were looking to get out of this one. I actually think it kind of is the opposite, right? So the Vikings, we were horrible the whole game, but we won. It's like, all right, let's try and fix these mistakes, build on it from here. That's how the Bears felt the whole game, is like, we're not doing everything great, but let's get out of here with the win, and we start trending in the right direction. Where the loss now feels like, oh my God, we reverted back into the same things that we always do. And as you said, it's supposed to be different. Here's what I'll tell you if you're a Bears fan, and this is what I would have said to the Vikings had they lost. It's week 1. You need to relax.
Crazy stuff happens week 1.
You need to relax. It is a long season. I think, again, we're Notre Dame fans. The college football world, I think, displays this as well as any sport. When you're in December or when you're in November in those games, you're not thinking about September anymore. Yes, they reflect in the standings, and obviously there's importance to these games, but it's a different world 2 months from now. Your goal in Chicago is to have Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson clicking come November football. Now, that might mean you struggle early and aren't going to be in the playoffs this year. Like that could happen, yes, and you want to be there. But the whole point of this season is that Caleb is going to become the guy and Ben Johnson is going to be the guy. This is the view that you need to take coming out of this game. There were things here that show that it could happen. Right? Caleb hits a couple of those throws that I think he should make. If you're an NFL quarterback, if you're the number 1 overall pick, you should hit those throws. If he doesn't hit them in 2 months, now here we are on Thanksgiving, the time when most evaluators say that second-year quarterbacks are judged by second-year Thanksgiving. If he's still missing throws, then we have to start talking about a bigger problem at hand. But you just want, over the next few months, everything to tighten up. Obviously, tonight's disappointing, but if you're a Bears fan who just sits back and goes, season's over, like that's on you, because there's a lot of football to be played. It's a tough schedule.
But my question is this how it's going to feel in Chicago? Right? Remember, they were up 4-2 last year, and it felt like things totally collapsed when they faced a little bit of adversity, and we got to see that in a micro sense in this game. That has to be the lesson that Ben Johnson is playing on repeat for this locker room this week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, the season is not over. I am sure, I've never played in the NFL. You can probably tell from looking at me.
No,
I
dude,
am
you
sure
got
it feels like the season is over after you watch this game, after you play in this game, right? Like, if you're Caleb Williams, I would just feel crushed. But this is what's so hard about the NFL. In the NBA, if you lose a game, you can sort of shrug and say, whatever, we got 81 of those left. No one cares. In the NFL, you got 18 of these. If you screw up next week because you're thinking about this one, that's 10% of the season gone.
It is a week to week sport and reaction based shows that we have. If you've ever seen it, like what was that? One of the headlines. Oh, I'm trying to remember one of the headlines that I saw today that just absolutely blew my mind. Oh, it was a couple of people were talking about the Lions. And I was listening to some podcasts today. I'm not going to get into names here, but there were some people who were talking about the Lions, and they were saying like, yeah, man, like this game against the Packers, to me, I'm totally out on them this year.
I heard someone say maybe the Lions are just a bad team.
Yeah, maybe the Lions are a bad team, or like thank God it was on the road, because otherwise, and you're like, I'm like, guys, yeah, the interior was a problem. Obviously the play calling was an issue with Ben Johnson gone, Aaron Glenn gone. Like yes, the problems that we were worried about presented themselves, but it's week 1. Are you kidding me? How many times have we look at the Bears? Which the team we're talking about tonight was 4-2, and they blew it up. The Bengals so many times. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but they went from 0-4, 0-5, whatever it was, to like one of the most dominant teams in the league.
Oh, we just got a chat from Colin Coward, backwards hat host.
What?
The Colin Coward podcast is in here, backward hat host. So you better watch out, Paul.
Oh.
Your boss is watching.
My boss is watching. Yeah. Hey, Colin Coward. That's hysterical. Yeah, actually sometimes
I will say, I find this amazing. We put out a poll, do the Bears still suck? And only 95% of our chat said yes.
Yeah, dude. With the backwards hat, I've been on Zoom calls before. When we were earlier on in my career, especially, I remember I would be on Colin Coward's Zoom calls. And when Colin would log on, we're getting ready to do the show. One time I had a backwards hat on right in like the peak. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just coming from watching all the games. I had the hat on backwards. And you could see on the call as everyone's talking, and Colin doesn't, he wouldn't never say anything. But I just go very slowly in the Zoom chat.
Oh,
it was
man.
really funny. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Josh. But okay, where were we here? Back to Vikings and Bears. If you're a Packer fan right now, I saw Andy Herman, who we're going to have a fun show. Oh my gosh. Behind enemy lines.
I cannot wait for Wednesday. I mean, I kind of don't want to talk about that Packers game of Andy Herman, but I really want to talk about that Packers game of Andy Herman.
Behind enemy lines with Andy tomorrow is going to be, I mean, what an unreal week 1 for Vikings and Packers fans.
I promise we're not just like randomly plugging our segment. Like, it's actually going to be great.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. But we're going to, so I just still can't believe this game. But, if I saw Andy tweet during the first half, he's like, Packers fans loving this half right now. And you have to think that all Packers fans at this point in time are pretty jacked up with the way that the Bears looked in the second half and the way the Vikings played earlier on. Let me ask you guys in the chat right now, is there any sort of I don't want to say fear, any sort of a like hesitancy that, oh, maybe McCarthy could work out and the Vikings could be good? Or are you guys saying like, we just beat a bad team and that's what it's going to be? Because I think that JJ showed some real moxie tonight, and I feel really good about where we are right now.
We're putting it to a poll. Are you terrified of? So after this game, I'm willing to say, Paul. I mean, that was a Tom Brady-esque 28-3 type comeback.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We can be a little reasonable. I think it's JJ McMiracle. That's what I think it is. JJ McMiracle.
We had the Minnesota Miracle. Now it's time for JJ McMiracle.
Yeah, that was the JJ McMiracle game. All right, can we get back to the super chat, Ziggy? We've
got tons of these. Our fans are incredibly excited, and we appreciate all of you. I will say this is a shout out to Ranger Harada coming in with props to DJ Moore for getting up after that brutal hit.
Oh yeah. That was scary. I was happy to see DJ get back, and he came back in the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he came back in the game. I think after that was the play where he got hit by the snap. So he was not having a great day out there. Mm-hmm. But this one's from M2, a member. All the Vikings fans are drinking, which is why we're stuck with Packers fans. The game felt like a bit of a dud, but it really came down to coaching. Ben is brilliant, but he's no Kevin O'Connell. And I think like one of the things I say, and this is something that gets people very upset when you talk about head coaches, is the scheme advantage a head coach gives you, I think, is not the most important thing. Obviously, you want, if you can get it, a head coach who's really great at coming up with plays and schemes. But the reason I really respect Dan Campbell and why I think Kevin O'Connell is so good is you need a guy that can lead the locker room and get the players ready to play no matter the situation. And the reason Ben Johnson said they looked like a poorly coached team, it's not because the offensive concepts weren't good. It's not because they didn't have the right route combinations. It's because when it came down to the wire, they didn't look ready to play football, and the Vikings did.
There have been times as well with KOC who I mean, Kevin O'Connell's an unbelievable coach. Like, I remember when we were in the battle with Harbaugh versus Kevin O'Connell a couple of years ago. I was actually in, and they're showing the Vikings locker room right now. Come on, man. I mean, JJ McCarthy, born leader, this guy. This is unbelievable. When I came on here and everyone was making fun of me because I said he had the Tom Brady intangibles, okay? I said intangibles. I didn't say the skill set. I said he had the mindset of Tom Brady. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about right here. Yes, it's hyperbole, but you can see where I'm coming from tonight. You can see that. But with Kevin O'Connell, there have been moments where I felt Dan Campbell, Glenn, and Ben Johnson outcoached him last year in the Week 18 game. And Darnold was just way off, and there's nothing you could do about that sometimes. But then I thought McVay got the best of him in the playoff game. There have been times where I've thought Kevin O'Connell has been outcoached by some of the quote-unquote masterminds in big spots. And I understand that this is Ben Johnson's first head coaching game, but it was nice to see. I just thought this was a big win for him as well to kind of lay out what this season could be like, which is a great performance and great play calling from him in the second half. That's what a top 5 coach, that's what a coach of the year does. At halftime, I think I even tweeted like Kevin O'Connell needs to earn his coach of the year at halftime this second half, and he certainly did. I mean, that was as good of a coaching job. Again, guys, having a first-time starter in the second half on the road, who's literally forget first-time starter, just never taken a snap in the regular season, to have him have that turnaround, I think that's a real testament to Kevin O'Connell here. Now I'll stop. I'll get off my knees here because people are going to.
We've got a super chat from Jack here asking about Kevin O'Connell handling the clock at the end of the first half, not calling a timeout until late, the 59-yard field goal. Like, this was not a perfectly coached game. I think you're right that there's a lot more that could have been done there on the Vikings side. It would have been nice to see us do a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to blame him too much after that first half for not wanting to fully invest in a deep JJ McCarthy drive and maybe just hit the reset button. But yeah, I mean, there's not going to be a game where a coach is perfect. And Kevin O'Connell made some mistakes this game that almost cost us the game. Mm-hmm. But overall, I'm looking at this as a huge win from Kevin O'Connell to have the team. It's hard. It is hard to have a team play winning football in the fourth quarter when you're getting blown out by your rival, and probably the loudest their stadium has been since 1985.
Dude, we don't have wins. I mean, I'm sorry. We don't usually have these sorts of ridiculous highs. I mean, I know we've had some great seasons, but like this is some real hope right here. And that's what's going to make this so crushing.
This is where they get us.
This is exact. You know what? I have to be smarter than this. I have to be smarter than this as a lifelong Viking fan, where what would be even more soul crushing than just JJ looking horrible in week 1, but having JJ come back be unbelievable, and then later this year just collapse. Like that, you always have to be thinking ahead there, but not anymore. Optimistic, Paul. I stayed optimistic most of the night, and just maybe, a crease of sunlight found its way through the clouds in our miserable existence as Vikings fans this evening.
Yeah, well, no, say this, D-Mize. Like, you can say it was JJ McPonder for 3.5 quarters. The difference between a quarterback that I can start feeling comfortable believing and a quarterback I can't, Christian Ponder never had this back half of a quarter. Was there ever a time when Christian Ponder completely took over a losing game and led the Vikings to a thrilling comeback?
I mean, the best Ponder game was by far and away the game against the Packers to get to the playoffs in 2012. But Adrian ran for 200 yards in that game.
Yeah, I mean, that was Adrian Peterson won us that game. Christian Ponder, that game was one of the better Christian Ponder games because he didn't hold us back.
Yeah. No. JJ led this win. There was no Adrian Peterson
Christian Ponder in that game. Yeah, and that was a crazy Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, here's Brandon. You said this last season. I know. Look, I know.
But you know what? Last season we won 14 games. If we win 14 games this year, I'm happy if we get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. I don't care.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't know about that. I would be pretty upset.
That would be an incredibly successful season if we have the same season we had last year, a first-year starting QB.
I mean, yes. I guess if you're talking about the long-term projections. I don't mean I'm going to
celebrate once we start losing the game. But
yes.
I mean, that overall is a season that would be very good.
Zachary Moore, I think in the fourth quarter, JJ was that good. From literally not being able to complete a pass to, what do you have, 150 yards, 130 yards in the fourth quarter, whatever it was. It was awesome. All right, well, we got a ton of super chats. Can we hit some more of those?
We're doing our best to get to these.
Sorry, I keep rambling. I just keep rambling.
This one's from Kyle Thomas. Love the show. Happy to contribute. My question, Vikings always have hope, and it's always dashed. I'm going to direct this to optimistic Paul. Are you ready to be hurt again? Do you expect to be hurt again?
Oh, yeah. I live in a constant state of preparing for mental anguish. As a sports fan, I guess that's a huge clarifier. As a sports fan, I mean, maybe even personally, honestly, but yeah, it's been, I would say, a solid 10 years since I've really just no, you know what? No, after we beat the Bills a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure I wore a Viking helmet on the show and took Super Bowl bound. So I will fall into the same paths, but currently, as it stands, I am aware of the situation. I'm just very happy. And that's okay. That's okay.
I agree it's okay. And I appreciate Koaz of the shout that Jordan Love had a better NFC North debut than JJ McCarthy. Jordan Love in that Chiefs game.
Well, oh, yeah. The Jordan Love in that first Bears game was epic. That was an unbelievable performance from the Packers. But yeah, I mean, I was even thinking of Jordan Love, right? Our whole fan base here is Packers fans. You can't get too high or too low because you saw it in his first year. The turnaround Jordan Love everyone seems to remember who is a Packer fan or affiliated with the Packers like we are. They remember that Raider game in Vegas when he had the game losing interception and it just all looked bad and Packer Nation was really down. Jordan Love in practice for years, they were like, this dude looks bad. And then he flipped the switch. That's what I mean. It's a long year. You'll have highs and lows. You just gotta take the punches and you can't get too high or too low in those moments. So this game was a good representation of how Vikings fans should be on the year. If we're all sitting back in the first half saying season's over, which at one point I was, that's wrong. Tonight, at this moment, I can't sit here and go, we're winning the NFC. Because
and this
that's
is why
also crazy.
When Dennis says we beat the Bears by 3, what do we mean these highs? It's about how it happened.
Yeah.
I did not feel good beating the Bears by 3 in that overtime game last year where we did almost the same thing the Vikings did this game.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah.
Winning by 3, it's not always about the final score. It's about how you get there.
This was about Google the Viking locker room reaction if you haven't seen it. And that's why we're pumped up. Because I think this game showed the entire organization. And I think it showed, most importantly, JJ McCarthy, that he can win these games and that he can be the guy this year. He's coming into a tough situation, guys. 14-3 is a crazy record. I mean, we had one of the best seasons in the history of our organization.
That might be the most wins a team has had before exchanging quarterbacks when they didn't have
it's crazy. It's unbelievable. And to come into that situation, especially too, right? Didn't I say earlier in the game, I was talking about Aaron Rodgers and the mistake maybe that we made. Aaron had 4 touchdowns against the Jets. It wasn't all perfect, but he played a pretty good game. That's there as well, that the Vikings chose this guy over Rodgers and Daniel Jones, who both looked amazing, over Darnold, who had an unbelievable year. And in the first half, it was like, what the hell are they thinking? I saw people tweeting out, if this happens on Sunday Night Football against Atlanta, we're going to need to start thinking about calling Atlanta after the game to get Kirk Cousins back here because this roster's too good to waste. You have all that weighing down on you, plus the noise of Soldier Field, which was, as they all said, as loud as you've ever heard it, really. And then you turned it around in one quarter to win that game. That's what it's all about. That's why we're excited.
This game proves something. 11% of the fans in the chat said they're terrified of JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, terrified is a crazy word to use right now, but at least you can notice.
I'm terrified of any guy that can do this.
You're a better man tonight,
than me. It's like, I'm going to be afraid that JJ McCarthy is going to come into my room and just be like, yo, Ziggy. I can win anytime I want.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Jack's not on the show, so I had to try and channel that Jack energy. I apologize. That didn't really work out.
Okay, let's continue to roll through a couple of super chats because we do have to wrap it up because I know we both do actually have jobs in the morning.
Yeah, it's we've got one from Red Rabbit here. You should ask the Packer and Viking organizations to get a Packers Vikings pregame and postgame show of Tom Grossi.
Oh, dude, that would be fun.
I do. I appreciate that our fans think we're on the same level as Tom Grossi. Like Tom Grossi gets to stream NFL games.
And yeah, yeah.
But we love Tom. We had him on the show a few weeks ago.
Hey,
You can check that out.
when the Vikings head to Green Bay in week, what is it, week 12 or something? It's like November 20th,
Yes,
something. Right
November
before Thanksgiving.
23rd.
Right before Thanksgiving, when we come into Green Bay and kick some ass, it's gonna be a fun trip. We're gonna go out to that, and we're gonna, man, if we're both good, we are going to have some fun, Packers fans, that weekend. Okay, what else we got?
We've got plenty more. The Bears still suck coming in. Bradley Evans, the Bears are who we thought they were. We've gotten through most of these at this point.
Caleb
if you've
sleeping
got any
in
more
mommy's
questions,
bed tonight.
I'm going to put out a quick Q&A just for like a minute or two to see if there's any last questions folks have.
There was one. Someone said here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Kevin O'Connell won that game from RJ McReady. I totally agree with you. I thought he was awesome. Quality hate watch from Brady. That's really funny. Someone asked here who had the best performance of week one? Which team was most
There's one
impressive in
answer
week
here.
one from Asleep Eel? What, you going to say Green Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a bait. And you know what that is? That's a bait right there from Asleep Eel.
I'll walk right into it.
We all know,
I mean,
Yeah.
the Ravens and the Bills both had great games.
Yep.
But in terms of like who impressed me the most, clearly Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay was the only team this weekend that elevated their tier status, as far as I'm concerned. Green Bay was hovering in that second tier of teams that's hoping to be a real Super Bowl contender, and now it's like, holy crap.
Like, which team was the most impressive? I mean, Josh Allen's comeback was incredibly impressive, but we know he can do that.
Yeah, the Bills and Ravens are both juggernauts. I think the big wins of the weekend, we said this, the Colts, I think, actually had a massive win, and that was great for Colts fans, but there's still more to be figured out. The Packers and the Chargers were the two teams that beat the boogeyman, essentially, right? And it's weird that we're saying that about the Lions as the boogeyman, but they had owned the Green Bay coming into this, straight up, over the past few years. The Packers and the Chargers were both able to beat the team that has held them down for a while now, and it actually feels like this is the first time that I thought in the entirety of the Chiefs' run that they are actually vulnerable, because they looked outclassed against LA. And the Lions,
I know Packers fans are going to come in and say, we've beaten the Lions for 40 years. What do you mean about for a long time? For the whole Jordan Love era, that's been the team they've struggled with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this was an ass whooping. It really was. I think in the first half, it was close, and there were a couple plays. If there was that interception return for a touchdown by Brian Branch, I'm not sure Green Bay actually wins the game.
But I don't want to hear, well, maybe Green Bay doesn't win the game if a game goes differently when it was start to finish domination.
No. I know. But I think the game changes. However, given that what happened and it was called back, after that, Green Bay, they murdered them. And that was scary. Like, I was watching that going, oh, boy, like, I wanted the Packers to win this because I wanted to see Detroit take a step back, but not.
But not like that.
Not like that. All right.
We've got a great one from the great Dane 417 here, who had JJ McCarthy, TJ Hawkinson, the Vikings D on their fantasy team down 30. Won the game.
Oh, dude.
I would have won my fantasy league this week if I had just started JJ McCarthy. I fell for the Bo Nix hype. I'm never going to do it again.
Ziggy, I was ready tonight to come on, and I was just going to be miserable. And you know what? We probably would have had record numbers. But I was ready. I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, Dad, I don't know if I could do this, man. Like, I Packers fans chirping at me. They're tweeting out, this guy sucks. I'm looking at my fantasy team. I was up 85 points or 65 points against Josh Allen and Derrick Henry. I got blown out. The other league that I pay a lot of money to be in played Josh Allen, blown out. It was him versus Lamar to win it. And I'm like, Notre Dame lost to Miami. And here we go. McCarthy stinks.
Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
Micah's a Green Bay Packer. It was just miserable. And someone up there who has some control of football powers was like, let's cut this poor sack of shit a break. and gave us this win right here. So that was awesome.
This might be as good as it gets this season. As a Vikings fan, you have to be aware there's that risk.
It might be.
But we got something.
Yes, and that's why I was just happy for. As far as football goes, it was a great saving moment of the early football season here.
And I do want to give a quick shout out to a Minnesota Vikings legend, Aaron Jones.
Oh, Aaron Jones
had
in the
a
chat?
great game today.
Oh, I thought you said he was in the chat.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's like Jordan Mason is going to be the breakout story for people who don't follow this team really closely. There's a few in our Q&A, a few people asking if we were surprised by the fact that Jordan Mason looked really good and took a lot of the carries.
No.
If you were following this team really closely, I think the plan was always for Aaron Jones to take that step back as a locker room leader who takes RB2 snaps and Jordan Mason to take over. Because Mason last year really showed he could be a leader of a committee.
There's a couple interesting questions here, Ziggy. Brian asks Sorry, I'll hit Brian's question since I started. Who wins if the Packers and Vikings were to play in week 2? Green Bay would.
You think it's an interesting question?
No, that's not the one. No, that's not the one. That's not the one. I misread. Sauce said, "Who's going to take the bigger step back, the Lions or the Chiefs?"
I mean, I'm inclined to go Detroit.
Is that because you?
I mean, it depends. It depends on what you think in terms of step back. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and in some sense, if you get bounced and say the divisional round, when all Mahomes has ever done is make it to the Super Bowl, where losing the championship game in overtime is that a bigger step back. But I'm still basically certain the Chiefs will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Lions, I think the step back from divisional round to not making the playoffs, 1 seed to missing the playoffs, is bigger.
That still feels severe to me. I think the Lions would be the pick as well because, look, I still think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. And I mean, look, actually, after Sunday Night Football, you could sign me up. Lamar and Josh Allen are unbelievable. I mean, these guys are crazy.
We tried to tell you in the power.
No, I have no problem with anyone putting any of Burrow, Lamar, or Allen ahead of Mahomes. Like, that's fine to me. And now I'm putting the Chiefs have to slide back. But going into week 1, I had them properly seated at the number 3 team. Could have been 2. I think the Chiefs are probably. I would say the Lions would be my pick for who's more likely to regress. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they will. But that schedule, you got to tighten everything up. And it is a little concerning that the problems that we are all worried about were the most glaring issues. I think they'll be okay. I think Campbell is a great leader, and I think he's someone that can rally the team and figure this out. But I definitely say that the Lions have a few concerning. Hey, look, it was a trap. You're walking to Green Bay with Micah Parsons coming into town. I mean, they were on fire. So rebound and beat the Bears. What else? What else we got here?
We got a couple other good questions. This is one from Michael Merrill, who's always a supporter and a member. Did JJ McCarthy prove enough to say in confidence that Minnesota is a playoff team, or does he need to prove more against better teams?
Definitely.
I want to see him put together. It's not about the quality of competition. I think beating this Bears team means something. I would like to see him put together a more complete game. That's my big question.
Yeah, I understand we can all make fun of the Bears as much as we want, and it's fun to do. Like we all agree, right? It's fun to make fun of the Bears. It's fun to make fun of any of our rivals when they have a moment like this, and we've been the butt of the joke more times than not. But the Chicago Bears are going to be a good football team this year. At the very least, they will be a competitive team this football season, and they're not going to be someone that you see them on your schedule and you go automatic win. I think Caleb's going to continue to get better. I think Ben Johnson will continue to get better. That defense will get people back. It would not surprise me in the least if they are a wild card team. I'd be pretty shocked if they won the division, but they could be a wild card team. So
yeah,
that's a good
Towers, I think, puts it pretty well. Or like a good season for us would be like the 23 Packers without a playoff win. Where like you see clear in-season improvement from JJ McCarthy. Everything starts looking better. Hopefully he doesn't then injure his groin so he can't walk the next season. But like setting aside the playoff win against Dallas, which obviously I'd be thrilled if we dominated a team in the wild card round.
I mean, that's crazy.
Just seeing in-season improvement from JJ McCarthy such that I feel good about next year. It's all I really want.
How do we measure up to the Lions after this week? I would still I still have my. I wouldn't go so far to say I'd be picking us to beat Detroit.
That feels like a classic week one overreaction take. You are going to see a lot of people saying the Lions might be the worst team in this division because they're overreacting to week one. The Lions should be number 2.
10-point comeback in the fourth quarter of NFL debut the last 45 seasons. Steve Young in 1985 and JJ McCarthy.
Whatever.
Not bad. All right, let's hit these final questions and we'll call it a show here. It's awesome to have a show where everyone, and thank you guys, everyone in the chat. Everyone's been super great to us.
We're being serious. This is the first time we've had a really successful show where we're happy about something.
Yeah, like we've had shows where we come on, we're having a great time, but no one ever listens to them. No one ever cares. This is the first time where everyone's like, hey, congrats, guys. We're happy for you. And it's like, this may never happen again. Like, this is great. So we'll enjoy it. We're kind of soaking it all in here, but let's get these final questions and wrap it up. Yeah. Again, thanks everyone so much. We got a quick
super chat from Chris Becker here. Yeah. I lost all 3 fantasy football leagues this league, but the Packers won, so I feel no pain. I also had $65 on the Vikings winning tonight, so skull. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about betting on divisional rivals. Maybe because we were playing the Bears, it's okay. You're betting on one divisional rival to beat another.
That is a true football fan if I've ever heard it, and everyone who's listening knows it. If you put your fantasy team over your real team, not a real fan. Not a real fan. In my
honestly, stop watching the program.
Yeah, not.
I probably shouldn't say that, but no, it's like
unless you're playing in like a no, even if you're playing in a big time money league or something like that, the team big always money. Goes over fantasy. That's the golden rule of fantasy football here.
I mean, Jack always says it. These teams don't really care about you unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers sending Jack Christmas cards. Like, it better be a lot of money to buy your loyalty.
Yeah, well, Jack's. You could buy Jack's loyalty pretty light. All right.
Well, there's one last question. I want to get it from YOLO Baggins. Do we think the Bears are going to be drafting another early round QB if Caleb Williams doesn't show a market improvement? Like if things look a lot more like this game?
If Caleb plays like he did in the second half today, if that's the way he's looking in December, there will be questions about Chicago will be looking at alternate options. I still think in all likelihood it would take an utter catastrophe to have Caleb not be the Bears starting quarterback next season. Because number 1 overall pick. The guy has talent. He clearly has talent. And Ben Johnson's only gotten 1 off season to work with him. He would have to look so bad. But let's say, and in the second half today, I actually thought he did look quite bad. If he doesn't make any improvement and it's December and the Bears have 6 wins, there will be people calling for it, and Chicago will look into it, but I don't think they will do it. Unless if they're picking like number 1 overall in the draft and like a prospect. I'd just be really surprised if Caleb's not starting next year. But the questions will certainly come up. I mean, questions could come up in like 2 weeks. I can't
believe we missed it. Tom Grossi put a message in our chat, and I just straight up didn't see it.
Oh, what did he say?
Our fans are too busy. I said I couldn't see it. Our fans are too busy spamming stuff. All right, we're hiding this guy. He's spamming stuff. Sorry, Tom, if we missed you. I'm sure it was a nice thing.
We could find it in here, right? I think.
I don't get chat history back past a certain point.
No, well, could someone tell us what Tom said? That's all. Oh yeah, wow, yeah. Here's a lot of people. I think that Tom left probably a really nice compliment.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he said, like, I love the Minnesota Vikings, Skull Vikings. They're my favorite team now. JJ McCarthy is going to win you guys a Super Bowl.
Oh, I can't believe we missed Tom in here. That's crushing.
Thanks for pointing it out to us, Brandon.
Or yeah, there's like 5,000 people who are saying Grossi. Tom is such a nice guy too. I actually, after we did our live show with him, I called him up on the phone. Or I'm sorry, he took a phone call from us just to talk through a couple things about the channel.
It looks like what Tom said was he's happy for Ziggy that the Packers won. Okay, Tom. Okay.
That is hysterical. Yeah, Tom is just such a nice guy. He stayed on the phone with me. I'm asking him a bunch of dumb questions. He's just so nice. Like, I can't even say go follow Tom Grossi without it sounding disrespectful to Tom Grossi.
Yeah, no, it's
you said at the end of our live show. At the end of our live show, Ziggy goes, "Hey Tom, where can people?" Hey Tom, where can people find you? Where can people find you? And Tom, and I was like, this guy, like, where can be? Hey, Colin Coward, where can people find you?
It's what you're supposed to say at the end of a live
Tom's
show.
like, Tom's like, Tom Grossi. Or Colin, can you imagine, Colin, where can people find you?
Colin Coward podcast.
The Herd on Fox Sports.
Look, man, I don't.
Stephen A., where can people find you at?
I'm trying to give Tom Grossi. I'm doing a plug himself. What am I supposed to say? Go follow Tom Grossi on Tom Grossi Comedy. I'll say that right now. You should.
Tom's a beast, and yeah, I mean, maybe I'll try begging him to do some Viking Packer collab. But that'll be. I mean, look, it's a great night when we're all having fun in here for the first time ever.
Also, for the record, folks, that's not Eddie Lacy. That was really Tom Grossi. That was really the Colin Coward account. That's not really Eddie Lacy.
If it was, yeah, I mean, I pretend it's Eddie Lacy personally. I like to just pretend it's Eddie. Eddie Lacy was also in the chat. Eddie Lacy. We can make all the jokes we want.
Whoever runs that account is a longtime fan.
We can make all the jokes we want. There was a time where Eddie Lacy was a beast. What did he run? Yeah, 1,200 yards rookie year with 11 touchdowns, 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. I mean, he was rookie of the year. I forgot he was second team All-Pro his rookie season. Yeah, Eddie Lacy, man, dude. Packers had a few of those guys who popped up like running backs who were just unbelievable for a couple seasons and then faded away quickly. But the NFC North has had some ridiculous running backs. Fat Lacy, yeah. Oh, man. One of my just all-time Viking moments.
This story's where we're going to wrap it.
Yeah, probably. One of my just all-time Viking moments, and some of the chat may remember this, but the first Viking game I ever went to in Minnesota, I'd seen them lose in Washington. I'd seen them lose in New York a handful of times. Always a loss. And we were playing the Browns in week 3 of the 2013 season. I think it's 2013. And we're both 0-2, of course, right? Of course we're 0-2. It's the Browns. But the Browns had just traded Trent Richardson. And Trent Richardson at the time, we know he fell apart, but at the time, Trent Richardson was the only piece of hope that the Browns franchise had. And I remember we're in the elevator, me, my dad, and my brother, with a dude wearing a Trent Richardson jersey. And we just looked at him and we're like, dude, we're so sorry, man. You're going to get crushed tomorrow. We're so sorry. He's like, I know. It's miserable. And, in our head, you can't lose. And Brian Hoyer was playing. And no one had heard of Hoyer at the time. He's the third string quarterback. And then we went in and got our ass kicked by Brian Hoyer. And the whole game, my dad and I are going, who the hell is Brian Hoyer? And in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, the guys behind us tap us and are like, dude, his dad is right there. 3 people over. And the whole game we're just going we're losing to Brian freaking Hoyer. And at the end of the game, Hoyer gets the ball, marches downfield. Browns hit a game-winning field goal to beat us. We just turned around. My dad shook his hand and said, congratulations, Mr. Hoyer. We walked out and we cried. We're like, what the hell? But that's just that Trent Richardson game. I'll never forget. I don't know why Eddie Lacy sparked the Trent Richardson memory, but that's what it's like to be a Vikings fan normally. You lose to the Browns with their third-string quarterback. But not tonight, Ziggy. Tonight, we're happy fans.
No, there's one last question here from J.K. Zarada. Do you need to send the Pope a Skull Bears brick? The equivalent of the Norse brick for the Bears? I'll say this. If we got one, I could absolutely get it to the Pope. I know a guy who's going to see him in a couple weeks.
Can we send a letter to the Pope from the show?
Absolutely.
Is that we can do that?
Sure. I can probably get it read. I know people who text the Pope every day.
Really?
Imagine, having Tom Grossi in our comments is huge. I'm very happy to have Tom Grossi here.
This is interesting.
Imagine we got the Pope.
I didn't see this
coming
development
live on the Paul Farrington show.
Yeah, I did not see this development coming on at the end of the show, that we'd be contemplating a letter to Pope Leo. Now, it couldn't be mocking. We couldn't be making fun of it.
Absolutely not. But I'm just saying.
Maybe.
If the Bears still suck after this, I may have to be reconsidering my commitment to Catholicism. Because if the Pope can't bring about something good for the Bears, what's the point of being the Pope?
Could Pope Leo? Surely he can't come on the show.
Surely, no, I cannot get him on the show.
The Pope can come on a podcast, though, right?
He's not coming on our show.
No. I mean, like in general, though.
I don't have that.
You've
kind of
piqued my curiosity now. Like if let's say like he was like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, is that in bounds for the Pope to come on a podcast? Like,
I mean, the Pope's the monarch. He can come on. He can do basically whatever he wants.
I mean, that would be pretty insane. That's why we have
a monarch.
Yeah, that would be pretty wild to have Pope. All right, Ziggy, if you can get Pope Leo, that'd be great.
I'll use my connections and see if we can get him on the show.
The Norse brick, just to clarify for people who think this is not a celebratory decoration. Like it's not sold to be like, oh, hey, we got the Norse brick, Skol Vikes. This is sold, and it said on the tag when you bought it, when the Vikings bother you and piss you off so much during the game, you can throw this because it's foam. You could throw it at your TV, and it won't break the television. That's why it's here. And we have a couple of them around the house and we have thrown them before. But, all right, guys. We really appreciate this. This has been epic. Ziggy, I know you have to get up pretty early, so appreciate you staying up late. Everyone stayed up late with us. We've had over 1,000 people the whole time, and we never got over 1,000, right? Until very recently on our lives.
No, I mean, you all have been a huge contributor to our success, and we really appreciate every single one of you.
Chris Becker, Ziggy being 2 degrees from the Pope was not on my bingo card. Yeah, and that's...
OP Ivy is right. If we had the Pope on the show, we probably could not have Jack there for that interview.
Well, Jack goes to mass.
What would Jack say?
Jack goes to mass every week. Jack is a Catholic. Like, he's
I know.
Catholic.
I just mean, like, I wonder what Jack would ask.
Oh, I don't know. It does. Oh,
I'm not sure I want to find out.
I don't even want to think. No, he'd probably be like, I bet he'd ask him like if he's been to Sluggers in Chicago or something. He'd say, it'd be something like that. He'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, Leo, if you ever like put back a shot at Sluggers and hit the batting cages, and Pope Leo would be like, yeah, that's what I guess. So we appreciate everybody. This has been awesome. Any closing thoughts, Ziggy?
All I'll say is we appreciate all you coming out for this, and there's going to be a lot more NFC North reactions. We're not going to promise reacting to every game or whatever, but there are going to be a lot of NFC North game reactions from the Paul Farrington Show, including Thursday, Commanders versus Packers.
Yeah, that is... I was just thinking today about how scary it would be if Green Bay gives it to Washington. They can make a real threat for number one team to beat in the NFC. Like, they're right there right now. If they beat up Washington and you take down Detroit and the Commanders in the first 2 weeks, they're going to be a lot to handle. Michael looks so good. I was watching tape back today. It's just like, oh my God, that dude is a monster. I can't believe they have him. All right, week 1's in the books. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks again, everyone. Had over 1,000 people this entire time. Yes, we will not let Jack talk to the Pope. Don't worry about that. I'm going to go walk over here and end the stream.
We're gonna wrap it.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
That's the Paul Farrington Show. That's all I got. I've got